theme. And what is our theme this month, Gary? Creating healthy habits. I don't know what that's about, but I've got a few that are less than healthy. And Dawn Morningstar, that is your given name. I was thinking about that. That's wonderful. An award-winning author, a women's self-empowerment coach, a podcast host, an educator, a TEDx speaker, a former radio talk show host, and devoted advocate for women's self-empowerment. She's the creator of the amazing Facial Serum 18, and since her book, Venerable Women, Transform Ourselves, Transform the World, was published in 2016, Dawn has spoken to over 1,300 times to different groups. And after coaching women for 35 years, Dawn founded Venerable Women in 2013, and then co-founded New World Women with Mecca Page and Sean Vougeot in 2020. These are all wonderful, long-running programs now. New World Women, a sisterhood of seekers and sages, expands women's consciousness and increases their prosperity using a unique model, paying women to practice self-care, learn new things, stay inspired, and help others. At this point, there is no other model like New World Women's in the world. And go check it out, newworldwomen.com. I did not get to do that yet this morning, but I will. Go check that out and share it. Lake Herod Spiritual Community, please help me welcome Dawn Morningstar.
Yay, thank you, Neil. Good morning. So has anyone at all felt at all jangly this week? Little bit, right? Little bit. It's a lot going on here. And I'm not making light of it. It's a very challenging time that we are going through right now. So when Gary asked me to speak a few weeks back, I wrote my talk right away because I was really inspired by this idea of creating healthy habits. And then as the time went on and we saw what was going on in our state, I made some changes to the talk so that we can address that too. Because I'm never one to say, oh, let's be, just happy, happy, joy, joy, although I love happy, happy, joy, joy, but also to take a look at authentically what is going on and what we are feeling. Because when we don't do that, that's when we get into trouble, because our feelings about things will come out sideways. One way or another, they will come out. And so I believe that authenticity is extremely important. So I also want to affirm that the words and the concepts, the ideas, the energy that I share with you today will be helpful to you on your journey. That is always my prayer, is that what I share is of service to you. And so with that said, I thought it might be a nice thing to do today to start with a meditation. Because as I said, many of us, our nervous systems become deregulated when we are in a situation that's out of the ordinary and feels threatening to us or to other people. So let's start off with that. So get yourself into a very nice, comfortable position. And if possible, and if you want, place your feet on the floor and feel your spine activate a little bit. And by that I mean simply be aware of your spine and feel your breath. Closing eyes or softened gaze. And take a moment to arrive in this moment. Let your shoulders drop. Let your hands relax. Let your jaw unclench. So we're breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth. Inhale slowly and exhale gently. And one more time. Inhale very consciously and exhale. And now, because it's so cold here in Minnesota, I want you to imagine something warm, a soft warmth like a golden light. And as you breathe in, imagine you are breathing warmth into your body. Not just physical warmth, but emotional warmth, spiritual warmth. Inhale warmth. Exhale softness. Inhale warmth and exhale release. Now let's do something important for the nervous system. Imagine the breath traveling down into your belly and then down into your hips and into your legs, all the way to your feet. Feel your feet. Feel the steadiness beneath you. Feel the support. You are here. You are safe in this moment. You are held. Now I invite you to bring your attention to the heart area and imagine your heart like a small flame, steady, quiet, and alive. Even when the world feels loud, the flame remains. Even when the world feels uncertain, the flame remains. And now we plant a seed, a sankalpa, the Sanskrit word for beginning or seed. Just as a seed holds the entire tree inside of it, your intention holds the shape of your day, the shape of your life. So gently ask yourself, what seed am I planting today? What quality am I choosing today? You don't have to force an answer, dear ones. Just notice what rises. Maybe it's courage, or kindness, or steadiness. Maybe it's truth, or peace, or love. Whatever it is, let it be simple and let it be true. Now slowly bring your attention back to this time and this space. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. There's a word that I learned when I was studying in India. I went to India and I stayed in the silence for 21 days while I was being taught by enlightened monks. And anybody who knows me knows that for me not to talk for 21 days was a feat in and of itself. But the beautiful thing about practicing Mauna, M-A-U-N-A, is the concept of going within and staying within. And during that time, as I was learning, I was able to not process everything I was learning with everybody else, but to hold it deep within. And so I learned a lot of Sanskrit while I was there. Do I remember it? No. I remember a handful of the words and a handful of the chants. But the one that really stuck with me was the word sankalpa. It's S-A-N-K-A-L-P-A, sankalpa. And that means the seed or the beginning energy. And so when Gary asked me to talk about creating healthy habits, the one that came to mind for me is this idea of how we begin something is how its energy proceeds. You know, so the seed becomes the energy of the tree, right? And so I really felt that that could be a way to talk about a healthy habit because of the way I use sankalpa. So it means the seed, the beginning, the intention planted in the field of consciousness. The the intention planted in the field of consciousness. And it's not just a wish. Sankalpa's not a wish. It's not just a thought. It's this idea that the seed determines the tree, right? The beginning shapes the becoming. I don't know that we think about this a lot. I think sometimes we are so busy with the doing, right? That we don't pause and take a look at what we are doing and what the energy of it is that we are infusing it with. And so how we begin anything infuses the energy of what that thing becomes. So if you begin in a relationship with honesty and presence, you're going to have a very trusting, loving relationship. If we begin a project with clarity and purpose, the outcome of that project is going to be elevated, right? If we begin our day with doom scrolling and, looking at our phones and all of that, that becomes the energy of our day. I know it's tempting. And I'll be honest, occasionally I do it, especially since we've had all this crazy stuff going on in our state. I did it because I wanted to see what happened overnight, or what's going on. But I really put myself in check on that and said, I noticed when I did that, I had a very different morning and consequently a very different day. So I disciplined myself and said, you can look at those things. It's important to know what's going on, but you don't need to start your day like that. If you do, that becomes your day. That is the sankalpa of your day. So thinking about, when I think back to me doing that, I'm not shaming myself. It's just that, and I'm not blaming myself, I'm becoming aware, and that's what I would invite each one of us to do, is to truly walk around with awareness. To me, the biggest spiritual principle there is awareness. That's my A for awareness. Because when we're aware, that means we're being present. And when we are present and aware, that is when we are able to truly create the lives that we want. If we're dashing here and there, and we are constantly in this place of not being present and just jumping into the next thing, we don't have the life we want. It's pretty simple, really. So, what do you do if you've already begun something and you didn't begin it with the really cool energy, the really nice energy, the beautiful energy, the intention? What do you do then? You just start over. Choose a new beginning. You just start over. So that's the thing. We always complicate things. I think a lot of our teachings and trainings really make us feel like, it's got to be complex and you have to beat yourself up along the way. No, simple. You started something with an energy that was not exactly elevated. So you say, okay, I'm just going to start over. Like me, when I pulled my phone first thing in the morning to see what had happened in Minneapolis overnight. I went, nope, that's not going to get me where I want to go. I didn't beat myself up. That's an old tendency I would have had. Like, Dawn, you know better, right? Well, we all, we do what we do, and then we can correct it, we can change it. So, and so some of the phrases I wrote down to share with you is, wait, this isn't the energy I wanted to plant. This isn't the seed I want to water. This isn't the road that I want to walk on. And then right there in the middle of it, beginning again. And beginning again doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. You just became aware and said, I'm going to change this up. And, right now in Minnesota, we really need that wisdom. And you know what? I'm going to take a little sidebar here. I'm not from here originally. I'm from the East Coast. I grew up in Baltimore, and I moved here in 1990. So I do feel like I am a Minnesotan now. And I wouldn't even consider living anywhere else. A lot of my friends who have retired or gotten older, or both, have decided that they were going to move to warmer places. I would not dream of living in Minnesota. I would go, and I am going on a little trip next month to break up the winter, but I wouldn't dream of leaving because the people here, we are a strong and hardy people. Neil, I was halfway kidding when I said, that we are a hardy bunch here. And that's an interesting word, isn't it? To use the word hardy for someone who's strong. Heart. I believe Minnesotans have a lot of heart. I believe we do a lot of things right. I really do. We've got our education. That's one of the reasons I moved from the East Coast to Minnesota, is because the education here is really top-notch from around the world. And my daughters, who are 35 and 39, they got such a good education. They went to the University of Minnesota after going to wonderful, schools along the way, the elementary school and middle school and high school. And so Minnesota, I think, does a lot of things right, and I believe that that could be because we start, I'm going to include myself in this, with this energy of planting the seed of what we want to see happen and then taking the steps to go ahead and do that. So I am very proud of Minnesota right now. I really am proud. This has been a very hard thing that we are going through. And I'll say it, it's wrong. What is happening here has not been the energy of what is in the heart. It's the exact opposite. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Our state is under siege. But there are little bright spots along the way. I see people coming together in greater community. People who normally wouldn't hang together are coming together. There's that. I think we're becoming very clear on the kind of state that we want to continue to be. I saw that last night, and by the way, this is not first thing in this morning when I looked at my phone. It was later, because I was curious, and I saw that overnight there was, last night there was a man who was trying to gather a bunch of hateful people together right by City Hall. And he was hoping for this really big group of people. I think there were like 6 people who came. And so the crowd, who does not want this happening here, was doing things and kind of chiding him. I think they threw a water balloon at him. I'm not in favor of violence. I'm truly not. But sometimes you got to do things a little differently in order to shake things up, right? So what ended up happening? This is the story that I want to share. What ended up happening was, instead of our people beating this man up or harming him, I've been told, and I don't have this verified, so I want you to really definitely verify this for yourselves, but I've been told it was the Black Panthers who came and surrounded this man and brought him to safety so that the crowd would not harm him. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute. That's who we are here. We're saying no to this behavior, but we did not hurt the man. So I think that's really important. So again, verify. I know it was one Black Panther, that for sure. But the point is, a group of people took that man and said, we don't want to hear what you have to say. We don't want this energy, and we will not harm you. We will take you to safety. So it's things like that that give me hope, that we are bigger than this. And I always think about, that simple phrase, we know it so well, but how can we really believe it? That this too shall pass. This shall pass. And who will we be on the other side of it is the question. Who are we being now? Being co-founder of New World Women, I'm always in a sticky spot. Sean is here, she's the co-founder. I'm always in a sticky spot when we have something like this going on because New World Women focuses on women's self-empowerment, remembering our power, reclaiming our worth, rising up together, very spiritual, very loving, very kind, all of those things. So I get stuck when I need to write the Sunday email. We send out, it's called Light Notes. We send that out every Sunday morning. And so I had a really big decision to make yesterday. Like, just do your usual beautiful, positive message, which are lovely, or do you talk about what is happening right where you live so that others can send us good energy? And so I made that decision to do that. Now, tomorrow morning, we will probably have a bunch of people who will unsubscribe because they don't want anything that has to do with politics. Well, I don't see this as a political statement. I see this as a human statement. And besides, name me one area of your life that is not impacted by politics. One thing. Our healthcare, housing, food, water, treatment of Mother Earth, the way we deal with other countries, the world we're leaving for future generations, all of that is involved, government is involved in all of those things. So, I want us to think about what is our role in all of this. Our role is to hold the light, the love, and to do what we are called to do in these times. For some people, it will be at home and praying for peace, and that's beautiful. For some people, it will be taking to the streets. For some people, it will be writing a chant or a song. For some people, it's posting on social media. But when something is happening that is not helpful or not kind or not loving, that is when we get to show who we really are. So I hope that I have not offended anyone by taking this tact. I really didn't mean to do that, but we must, in fact. Here's what I want to say about this, and then I will move back into the other ideas. Thank you for your smiles, and I appreciate that. And that is, at the end of all of this ugliness, when people ask, just like they did in 1930s Germany, what did you do? I want to have a good answer for that. So each person needs to decide for themselves what it is. I beg you, use your critical thinking skills. Don't stick your head in the sand. I know some people say, oh, I don't want to think about this because that, lower my vibration. Well, that is a choice. That is certainly a choice. And I respect whatever anybody wants to do. But if everybody does that, then we may end up with a result that we don't like. So anyway, off the soapbox on that. So I'm going to share what I do each morning. That is the sankalpa of my morning. So many of my coaching clients do this too, and it helps them live from intention rather than reaction. And so I call it GAP, but it's GAP with 3 Ps. And it's because I just couldn't stop. So it's gratitude, affirmation, presence, power, protection, and peace. And so what it does is it helps close the gap between who we are at our highest selves and what the world might be asking of us in the moment. So let's walk through it. So G is for gratitude. So gratitude is not pretending that things aren't hard. Gratitude is a frequency shift. I love thinking about frequency because frequency is energy, is vibration, right? So gratitude can say, even here, wherever here is, there is good. Even now, I can find something true. And your gratitude can be simple. And some of these are like my favorites. I'll just share them with you. I'm grateful that I got to visit the dream world last night. Like, that's the first thing I say every morning when I wake up. I got to visit the dream world last night. I'm grateful to have a warm bed. And I was laughing because I live in a really, really old house in St. Paul. And, I have heat, obviously, but it's pretty drafty in there. And my bedroom in particular can be really cold. It's either too cold or too hot with the radiator. So I sometimes turn the radiator off and just bundle up, because I'd rather be too cold than too hot. So last night before I went to bed, I had a little wool hat on my head. I had a scarf wrapped around my neck. I had 2 pajama tops on and a pair of socks. And I thought, this is just such a Minnesota thing, And so I had to laugh about that. But, being grateful that I had those things to keep me warm, And so I'm grateful that I'm still alive. That's another one that I say in the morning. I get to have another day, in this experience. I'm grateful that my dog greeted me like I'm the best thing that ever happened. My little dog, Pika, her head pops up in the morning. She sleeps on the end of my bed, and she looks at me like, I know she wants food. I get it. I know that's what it's really about. But I like to believe that it's because she really, truly loves me. And she does. I know she does. And I'm grateful that I have some eggs in the fridge that I could have for breakfast this morning. And I'm grateful that I took the time to change the sheets on my bed. So those are some of my gratitudes. So if you start off with that, that is the very first thing I do every single morning. And, another one could be something like, I'm so grateful that I, did that grocery shopping the other day. Or it could be all kinds of things, right? Anything that keeps your life in the flow, you can be grateful for. Okay. And this raises your vibration. Gratitude is the great multiplier. Awareness and gratitude. I'm big fans of both of those things. And now the A is for affirmation. And it's not like some generic kind of, affirmation like everything is fine. It's not that. This is where you affirm the world you want to live in. And it is the one quality that you're going to choose to make that world come about. So every morning, I take just a couple seconds and say, what kind of world do I want to live in? And be like, really loving one, where people are kind to one another, they laugh together, they celebrate, they appreciate each other's differences, And then I ask, what quality will I carry through the day to help create that world? So that's what I affirm every morning. So there's, the G is gratitude, the A are these 2 affirmations in there. And so this morning's was tenacity. And it's funny because I just let the word come to me. I don't think about it. And I was like, tenacity? Why? But I guess I'll find out through the day, won't I? Why am I being tenacious? Why am I, being going forward? I don't know why I made that motion. It wasn't like hitting. It was more like going forward. So you might choose... today I embody courage. Today I embody kindness. Today I embody truth. Today I embody steadiness. Today I embody sharing. One that I like to use a lot is that today I embody being in the flow. I love days where I'm in the flow of things. Do you love those days where you're just like, oh yeah, I go to pick up that sweater that I want to wear, and it's clean, and it's just ready to go, and just everything. I go to make my tea and I still have plenty of almond milk. It's just like all of these wonderful things. And so thinking about that quality that you want to bring into the world that you want to create is extremely powerful. And it does what we want it to do. I mean, I think some of us think, oh gosh, I wish somebody would come and save us and do all of this for us. No, we are creating it. We are creating it with our thoughts and with our actions and with our words as well. That was something interesting that I just heard about a few weeks ago, was that everything in the universe, and you probably all already know this, I'm just happy when I get to learn new things, but that every single thing in the universe was created through sound and vibration. I guess I never thought about it. But then I think like in the Bible, the word was spoken and the word was made flesh. That's like spoken sound, vibration. Made flesh means it was brought into reality. And there are all kinds of other expressions that have that same idea to them. So I think that's really cool. So that makes me want to be really aware of what I'm speaking forth in the world and the feelings that I'm using to create the world that I want, and the quality that I'm bringing to that world. It's not going to be somebody else doing it. It's going to be all of us. Okay, so now for the 3 Ps. And there might be 4. There's definitely 3. The first one is presence, but not presence like you might think. This is feeling the presence of the divine in every single one of your cells. Right away in the morning. That is a seed to plant. You're not just this bag of bones walking around, right? You are, in fact, an expression of the divine. So allow yourself to feel the presence of that divine spark in you as you. So that's what I mean by presence, is feeling the presence of the divine in you as you. The second P is power, okay? I love this one because some people don't like the word power. And if you go a little deeper and you figure out why, it's because power has been used over us, right? But the way I think of power is power within and power with one another. And so the power that we get to do is we get to choose how we're going to use our power, and we get to show up in a way that we get to choose. That is tremendous power. That is huge power. But if we're not paying attention to it, we don't use it. It just, I don't know what happens to it. But it sure is not being pushed out there into the universe for good. Protection. That's the third P. So yeah, there are 4 of them. Protection. Now this is one that Dr. Mary Newstrom, who's a shamanic practitioner, I think she's spoken here, right? Yeah? And so she and I, we have a podcast together called Soulfire Sisters, which is really fabulous. I think we've got our 8th episode coming up this Tuesday. And so because she's a shaman, and people come to her to get stuck energies removed and all kinds of things. She does much more than that. But anyway, so she and I were having this conversation about asking for protection. And I was like, well, gosh, if I'm being really high vibe and loving and kind, what am I being protected from? And she said, well, there are all kinds of entities out there and energies out there. And she said, you just don't want them in your field. And so each morning I just affirm that I am protected. And so when I do that, I just do this, I think of an egg shape, right, surrounding me, my arc field. And within that egg shape is are the things that I hold dear, the things that make me me. And so I ask for protection of those things so that I can bring those things forth in the world. So there's not anything trying to, get into my energetic field. And so, it's a pretty simple process. I just affirm that I am protected. And I don't know if you believe in angels or spirit guides or whatever it might be, or Jesus, whatever it might be, just affirm, I am protected. What is it Tai Chi, Qigong, where they say to zip up your energy field? Anybody know about that? Okay, but so in other words, it's in all kinds of traditions, this idea of keeping your energy solid, keeping your energy your own. So that's protection. And the last one is peace. I'm going to be peace wherever I go, to the best of my ability. We all get jangled sometimes, but take a breath, come back to peace. I mean, it sounds so simple to say that, we can be what we want to see in the world. I think a lot of times we're like, oh, well, if that group would be peaceful, then everything would be okay. Let peace begin with me, right? The song, let peace begin with me. Peace does begin with us. So that's the 4P. 4 Ps. So anyway, I wanted to say just a little bit about something that I did. This is what I added to the talk that I had already created, and that is my birthday was on Wednesday night of this week, and I went to a restaurant with my daughters, and it was in a part of Minneapolis where a lot of things had been happening. And the mood of the restaurant was a little bit somber, to be honest. It wasn't usually as light as it was. There was a little laughter and a little sharing, but I know this has been weighing heavy on people. And so we had a beautiful dinner. We talked a lot about what was going on. And when I was driving home with my one daughter, I felt a little bit of a sense of rage inside of me. I'm going to be honest, and I didn't like that, and I thought, this is not who I am, and yet I allowed myself to have the feeling, because that's a healthy thing to do. And so I remembered a quote by Nietzsche, where, and I'm paraphrasing because I think I have one word off, but you'll get the gist of it. He says, be careful wrestling with monsters, lest you become one yourself. Be careful wrestling with monsters, lest you become one yourself. And so that all happened on Wednesday night. And before I went to bed that night, I asked that while I was in my dream world, that I would be given something that I could bring out to the world that might be helpful. And I woke up the next morning, and I couldn't stop writing, and it was flowing through me, and I had my assistant coming over. We were going to make a batch of Radiant Face 18, and I was like, none of that is happening today. We're doing this instead. So what came to me was this idea of creating Minnesota Nice community gatherings. Everybody knows the phrase Minnesota Nice, and I know it gets attached to, the idea of passive-aggressive behavior and all that. We're going to put that to the side for now. We are nice here. We are nice. And so I thought, at first it was the Minnesota Nice movement, and I thought, nope, we don't want any friction with this. So it's the Minnesota Nice community gatherings where everyone wears green, for renewal, hope, harmony, and love. And we hold a candle, no protest signs of any kind. We just gather and we sing together. And there are a few little chants that are just sweet and loving. Yes?
One thought we had is that we didn't want to demonstrate or anything, but we take food to people who are afraid to come out.
Yes. Yes. I love that. And I know a lot of people who are doing that. And I think that is a beautiful idea. And I also know there's a group in the Longfellow neighborhood that is collecting money for people who can't work as a result of this to pay their rent. And so people are doing all kinds of things. So for me, the reason I think I came up with this is I felt like some of the images that we're seeing of people like, destroying one of the ICE agents' cars, that's not what we want out there because that's just not cool. And again, people do what they do. I'm not criticizing anyone, but I wanted to bring something forward that would be about renewal and hope. And so none of them have happened. I've sent this out to a bunch of people, some community organizers. We'll see what happens. Maybe nothing at all, or maybe just a little group in my neighborhood will come together and wear our green scarf or coat or whatever we have, hold a candle and sing some peace songs. Maybe that's what will happen. But the point is, just do what you are inspired to do. And if anybody's interested in learning more about the Minnesota Nice Community Gatherings, you can go on to newworldwomen.com, and it's right there on the top of the page. And you'll see if that feels like something that you might want to do. So that was me being aware and listening. And so I'm going to have a little bit of another meditation. I thought beginning and ending with meditation might be beautiful today. And so if you would like, you can close your eyes, relax your bodies, put your feet on the floor if you can, and let's just take this moment to quietly say to ourselves, I have peace in my heart. I will be peace wherever I go. And bring to mind our beautiful Minnesota, the lakes, the water, the snow, the ice, the memory, the transformation. And bless our beautiful state. And picture a gathering of people together, just like we are here right now, coming together for the purpose of love and imagining the flame in our hearts that say, I choose love, I choose unity, I choose warmth, I choose peace. And then remember the practice of gratitude, affirmation, presence, power, protection, and peace. And each morning, your healthy new habit can be asking, what am I beginning today? How am I starting my day? What seed am I planting? What quality will I embody? Because how you begin is how you live. Let's take one last breath together, inhaling warmth and exhaling peace. May we each be a blessing to every person and encounter and experience. May we create a beautiful future by being present in love now. So it is, and so it shall be. Whenever you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes and feel the love that you are. Thank you.
Wasn't that wonderful? Give it up for Miss Dawn Morningstar. It's a little tough, to be honest, bookend meditations and then have to come up and go, yeah, let's go. I did it. Yeah, for all of these reasons. But welcome to Paradise. And I remind you to get out in the community. Right now, there's art shanties started this weekend. It's a little cold this weekend, but next Sunday is the Kite Festival during the art shanty, which is a joy to see all dozens and dozens and dozens of kites in the air if we have good weather, and slipping and sliding down the ice. It's a wonderful thing. So thank you, Dawn. what a wonderful thing. So I would remind you that Lake Harriet is funded by your donations. In a moment, ushers will be passing the baskets, which include Venmo QR codes, and your donations are the primary source of our income, which allows us to keep the lights on and bring all these amazing speakers and experiences to you. We invite you to be a partner with us and in supporting this spiritual community. Give what you can today, and also consider becoming a regular donor. You can visit the website to do that, lakeharrietspiritualcommunity.org, and click Donate Now button. Another important thing is volunteering. There are so many opportunities. We all have different skills, and we can all bring them here. We have spring cleanup. You come out and we're going to get dirty. Shoveling this morning. Jeff was out shoveling, and all kinds of opportunities, even announcements and stuff. I'm on rotation for the third Sunday, and we try to keep people like Ella and stuff. So whatever skills you think you have, talk to Gary. Say, well, I'm just a graphic designer. Well, maybe you have a place where you can help out with that and engage the community. So please find opportunities to do that if you're inspired. And at this point, we will have offering.
Trouble the water. Said I why don't you let it be? Still water run deep. Yes, it do. Yes, it do. Oh, yeah. If you only believe when you're down and out, when you're on the street, when evening falls so high, I will comfort you. I'll take your part. Oh, when darkness comes and along, you'll all around just like a breeze over troubled water. I will lay me down, just like a breeze over troubled water. I will lay me down.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Gary. You might raise your hands and repeat after me. God's perfect love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. Amen. Now, again, thank you. Engage the community, walk carefully. Anything that we missed that's coming up this week on the schedule, things of interest. Nothing? Go out into the world. We're going to circle up, and then we're going to go out into the world. How many years have I been here and have forgotten that we circle up, we're going to join hands, and Don will say something inspiring. We're going to cut across somewhere in the middle here.
May we plant the seeds of love wherever we go. May we always remember our power, reclaim our worth, and rise together. We are one. So it is.